Never fear, Kansas City sports fans. You don't have to be cross-eyed any longer. The sports doubleheader that was Monday night is over. And thankfully, both teams emerged victorious in their respective bouts. Let's go ahead and talk about the Kansas City Royals, though, shall we? Welcome to the Royals Recap. My name is Jacob Milham. I am joined this evening by the man I call illustrious. Other people call him other names. He is Jeremy Greco. Jeremy, how we feeling tonight, man?
It's so late. I'm so tired, but I absolutely cannot sleep.
Yeah, just that amped.
Yeah, I just okay. So here's the thing: the Royals won, and
Yes.
I've been on record that either the Royals would lose in 3 or they would win. There was no in between. The Royals were not going to win in 3. They were not going to lose in more than 3. So I'm on record now as believing the Royals are going to win this series.
Yes.
I also said, and keep in mind, as I think I mentioned last time, now that they've split the series, this becomes, instead of a best of 5 with the Yankees home field advantage, now it's a best of 3 with the Royals home field advantage.
Yes.
So that's huge.
It is. It absolutely is.
And finally, the last thing that I absolutely have to get off my chest before we go any further, because I can't remember if I said this Saturday night, but I tweeted it this morning. I said, I do believe the Royals' non-elite bats showing up means something for KC's ability to score in this series. I don't believe the Royals' pitching walking 8 means something for their ability to get Yankees batters out. And then the Royals tonight, the non-2-3-4 hitters went 10 for 23 with 2 walks, 2 stolen bases, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. The bullpen only walked 1. No Yankees hitter had more than 1 hit tonight. 7 hits total, each belonging to 7 different Yankees. It's hard to score runs when you can't bunch your hits together, and you can't quite get it over that short porch in right field.
Yeah. Hey, all good points, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about a lot more later on in the podcast. But I do have to plug folks who make this happen, Jeremy. Okay, we got to pay the bills around here.
Sure.
The theoretical bills, I guess.
I don't know what bills are being paid right now, but all right, let's do it.
All right. Well, genuinely though, a good spot to watch along with these games with other Royals fans and stay informed on all things Royals related is royalsreview.com. A great comment community over there. I just pulled up the game thread real quick around the 7th inning, and that place was hopping. It was actually a hotbed of positivity, which was a welcome change. But go check out royalsreview.com when you have a chance. And I know you want to check out those Royals rumblings in the morning. All right, Jeremy, let's go ahead and talk about some numbers. So I do want to start off with the good. There are 2 somewhat negatives that I feel like we have to bring up later in the podcast. But let's start off with the good in the leadoff spot. Maikel Garcia getting his first leadoff start since August 31st and absolutely crushed it. Had a 4-hit game, an RBI, only struck out once, and also had a great day in the field as well. And you know what? Q had glowing words to say about him before the game. He had a ringing endorsement after the game. He also swiped his 3rd postseason bag. Like, this guy is getting it done. He is keeping the line moving, but he is also advancing himself on the base paths, Jeremy. This is, like, after tonight, I'm not going to be disappointed seeing him again in the leadoff spot, which I'm sure we will in Kauffman Stadium. What do you think, though?
I think we'll see him in the leadoff spot against lefties again. I think we'll see him batting 9th against righties. I think I got to say, though, Jacob, that we kind of probably should have seen this coming. I got to shout out friend of the podcast, Sean Newkirk, who did tweet that he hates Maikel Garcia leading off, so he expects that he'll get 3 hits tonight. So he's 1 shy. Good try, Sean. But my big takeaway is that Esky Magic traverses through the cousin line. Because I think most people know, but in case you're unaware, Maikel Garcia counts among his cousins Ronald Acuna Jr. and Alcides Escobar.
Yep.
Escobar was the last Royals player to get 4 hits in a playoff game when he won ALCS MVP in 2015.
That is a throwback, isn't it? Goodness. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm curious to see how else it goes. No, there's only one other Royals batter who had multiple hits in today's game, and that was Garrett Hampson of all people.
Who has not yet made an out in this postseason.
No, he is not, which is crazy to think. This was also his first postseason start of his career. And I mean, I'm not saying he was the difference between the Royals winning and losing, but I mean, come on, he batted in a run and he scored a run himself later on. Like those two runs became pretty pivotal later on down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, good on him. I know we have given him plenty of flack this season, and rightfully so, but he stepped up.
He's the Royals' Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Yeah, is that who he is?
Completely useless in the regular season, completely dominant in the postseason.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see if he can keep it going, though. All in all, the Royals totaled 11 hits from 11 different hitters. Now, did everyone have a hit? No, but that is okay. Mac Quatrero is playing some of the lineup shuffling games.
This is why Q is here. This is why I love Q. Is he says, all right, let's play some platoons. Garrett Hampson, you're in center because he's a lefty. As soon as the lefty come out, Kyle Isbell, you're pinch hitting. And I flipped it last night with the righty starter and the lefty reliever coming in.
The disappointing thing, though, is that they did have a ton of strikeouts. They had 15 strikeouts as a team tonight, which was like, I knew it was a lot. I didn't know it was quite that much when I was watching the game. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Royals batters with 2 or more strikeouts on their own. So that is disappointing. However, go ahead.
I just want to mention Pham is one of those guys who has 2 strikeouts.
Yeah.
He shouldn't. He should have a walk and a strikeout.
He should. And I was watching the October 5th game back a little bit, and I was like, when did Bobby Witt have a strikeout? And then I remembered, it was like, oh yeah, it was that really bad call at the bottom of the zone.
I thought that one was actually a good call.
Yeah, you thought? Hey,
it looked like it hit the bottom of the zone to me. According to Craig Brown over at Into the Fountains, he says that the TBS box is a little small and kind of looks that way to me. So okay. I do think that one was a strike.
Okay, fair enough. I
certainly too close to take.
Yes, that is undeniable. All in all, the team was 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position, so still not great, but not absolutely inept, at least. Much better than the Yankees, who were 1 for 6.
Yeah. 3 for 19 in the series, I believe.
Yeah, they had a lot of opportunities on
this is what I'm talking about.
Catch in.
When I say that the Yankees hitters didn't beat the Royals Saturday night. Right. I still didn't believe that the Yankees hitters outside of Soto, I don't even believe Judge has anything right now. Outside of Soto, I don't believe the Yankees hitters have anything. I think that they got a whole bunch of walks and they took advantage of it and they got a little lucky and they didn't get as lucky tonight. The Royals were still playing against the Yankees and the umpires. No, I don't think it's fixed, but I do think the umpires made a bunch of bad calls.
I fully agree with that. The umpire scorecard from Saturday's loss does show that it wasn't a crazy advantage to the Yankees, but it was like a quarter of a run according to their math, which, when you lose a game by a run, that is something.
Add in the missed stolen base call.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But that is Saturday. Let's get back to Monday and let's talk about this bullpen, which outside of Lucas Urseg's solo home run that he gave up, number one, I think that was a great pitch. That was just a better swing. Like that happens. It happens in baseball.
He's not actually Wade Davis, it turns out. He's just a lot like him.
Apparently so. The resemblance is uncanny, but they are not twins. He is not a clone, unfortunately. Angel Zerpa, John Schreiber, Chris Bubich, and Lucas Urseg came out of the bullpen. Bubich pitching 2 innings. I was a little surprised.
I was also surprised. I figured it would be long Bubich Urseg. That's what we've seen the whole postseason so far. And honestly, I was a little nervous. Bubic, I felt like, was giving up some hard contact.
Yeah, it seemed
But
like it.
excellent defensive play by Bobby Witt Jr. with Giancarlo Stanton in the bottom of the eighth to turn that into a double play. Good job by both he and Massey to realize that with Stanton running, they didn't need to rush anything. They just needed to get the job done correctly
Yep.
and making sure that happened. And Massey had also a great play defensively where he fielded a high chopper, stepped on second through first, got a double play on Austin Wells. Just a very good defensive night for the Royals.
Yeah, nothing really stood out to me, at least as a miscue. I will say the only defensive miscue that I heard was Bob Costas saying that Bobby Witt Jr. was, quote, going to win another Gold Glove, end quote. So Bob,
I was perfectly happy to listen to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman for most of the night.
Oh, I bet. Listen, it feels odd admitting that I didn't even watch a postseason game, but frankly, I had game day pulled up on one half of my screen, and I had the radio broadcast with Jake, Steve, and Denny on the other side. Like it was great. I loved it. I tweeted it out early on in the game. I said some good things about this pairing about 3 or 4 days ago. I take it all back. I take it all back without question. They're awful.
And I loved Ron Darling in the 2014 playoffs. He was bad tonight too. He made a remark at one point, nobody sat down since blah blah blah, and then the camera is like, everyone's sitting down, Ron. No one is. What are you talking about?
Which while we're talking about the fans, I do want to point that out. Number one, I get it; it's a weeknight, but once again, Yankee Stadium not sold out for a postseason.
And emptied out early.
Yes, exactly. I think that this is a great opportunity for Kansas City sports fans to put an exclamation mark on this postseason run by having we've gone to 2 different stadiums, right, in big markets. They have failed to sell out the stadiums, and they haven't had amazing environments, I would say.
I've certainly heard more intense crowds.
Exactly, and I've heard more intense crowds at Kauffman Stadium mainly. So I am hopeful that fans turn out for this. I'm begging y'all.
It seems like almost all of Royals Review is going to be out there. We're not, because we're not close enough. But
I'm jealous.
I'm a little jealous. I'm less jealous having gone to that Atlanta game and realizing that the live baseball experience may just not be for me anymore. But it might be different if I was at my home stadium.
Exactly. There's only one way to find out, and that's to go. Listen, if
I'll go buy a plane ticket right now.
I gotta go. I don't have enough points to cash in, unfortunately, Jeremy. But I'm sure that if you ask some of the Royals Review guys and gal what they're doing for Wednesday and Thursday's postseason games at Kauffman Stadium, they'll tell you. You just got to go start chatting over at royalsreview.com, and we'll be talking all about it, I am sure. Okay. 2 negatives I want to talk about before I forget about it. Yes, if we have to. Number one isn't even really, in the light of the win, it is not a major issue. But I still thought that it was an issue tonight of Cole Reagans' command. I did not love what we saw from him. Now, let me read off the box score. His box score isn't bad. He pitched 4 innings, allowed 3 hits, only 1 earned run, walked 4, but struck out 5. Compared to his start against the Baltimore Orioles, that is much poorer. Okay, the start against the Orioles is what we expect from a postseason ace. Today was absolutely not that. And he was not efficient or effective by any stretch. He had tossed 87 pitches in those 4 innings.
Push back a little and say he was effective, because they only scored 1 run.
Fair.
Not efficient. Absolutely not efficient. I think there's a couple things at play there.
Okay.
The first is, I think he was zamped up, and I think he was missing the strike zone. But I also think that the Yankees are just really good at taking pitches.
Yes.
I said this also Saturday night. Man, there were some pitches that almost everybody swings at that they laid off of. And sometimes you just got to give credit to the other team. I love the way that the bullpen bounced back and
Hmm.
didn't walk anybody. And I think if we see Reagans again in a game 5, I think he'll be better. We'll see.
Okay. I don't have any reason to not believe that, especially like he has 2 postseason appearances. He has 1 elite one and 1 so-so
And
one.
can I have to point out when he struck out Soto, I
Yeah.
believe in the 4th inning, Soto does the thing where he glares at the pitcher the whole time. And if you throw him a ball, he like kind of leans forward at you and gives you another harder glare. When Reagan struck him out, Soto's walking back to the dugout. Reagan's is just staring him down the whole time. I'm just like, yeah, what now? What now, Juan? What now?
and
Elite.
and that is what we call a mound presence. All
Yeah,
right.
buddy.
That is
That's
exactly what
ace
that is.
stuff right there, baby.
It is. It absolutely is. Just wasn't as sharp as night. Okay.
No.
His I did the math, like
But
44% of the pitches that he threw were for balls. That was the second highest rate of the year.
fighting his command, and I will say he was fighting his command. It wasn't just good takes by the Yankees, but fighting his command and still giving 4 innings of 1-run ball against what some people say is the best offense. I don't think it's the best offense in the AL. Juan Soto is the only guy who really scares me right now. I know Jazz Chisholm hit the home run, but he's a big league hitter. Big league hitters hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a consistent thing. Juan Soto is consistently good, is what I'm getting at when I say that he's the only one that scares me. Fighting his command and only giving up 1 run in 4 innings, that's ace. That's ace behavior right there. Garrett Cole couldn't do that.
No, he couldn't. You're absolutely right. So the other Yankees batter that you're not talking about is Aaron Judge, and the narrative, not just for this postseason but for his entire postseason body of work, has been, hey, he doesn't produce when it matters most. The lights are on and he ain't there, unfortunately. Well, now there is a little bit of body of work for people to say that about Bobby Witt Jr. in his last 2 games against the New York Yankees. Listen, when you are the presumptive runner-up in the AL MVP chase, and you have back-to-back 0 for 5 nights tonight with 3 strikeouts, while the rest of the lineup is getting it done, the man in front of him had 4 hits, for goodness sake. People are going to say, hey, what's up with this? All right, he has a 158 batting average in the postseason right now.
So I have 2 things to say about that.
Okay.
Jimmy Fox, Bobby Witt Jr., Jimmy Fox, the only 2 players to have the go-ahead RBIs that win the game in their first 2 postseason games.
Mm-hmm.
So we have seen Bobby do something.
Yes, we have.
And we've got more playoffs to go. Aaron Judge's record now is 200 plate appearances long, more than 200 plate appearances long, and he has the worst strikeout rate of any player in baseball history in the playoffs with more than 200 plate appearances. That's a sample. Bobby Witt has 4 games. Let's see what he does when he gets to Kauffman.
Yeah.
And then finally, the other thing I will say, no, I guess that was the second thing, was just the there was also somebody on Twitter, I cannot remember who you are, so I'm sorry I'm not naming you, mentioned that they think Bobby is being pitched around and he's chasing. And I do feel like he's pressing a little bit, and hopefully he's gonna take an opportunity to really refine his pitch selection here, as he takes another day off before we come back to more baseball on Wednesday. and take the walk, man. Get on base, create some havoc with your speed, and let's see what we can do there.
Yep. So what I'm bringing up is I'm not saying that Bobby Witt is shying away from that postseason light. I am just acknowledging he struggled at Yankee Stadium, which he did struggle earlier on this year in Yankee Stadium. So it's not anything new. Unfortunately, I do agree. I think returning to Kauffman Stadium will be a good thing for his production, even if it's just mental, even if it's just a routine thing. I don't know what it is. The field is different, and if he doesn't have his home run stuff, well, at least he can get some extra base hits there in big old Kauffman Stadium. So I am hopeful that we see him turn things around. Right now, the Royals won despite Bobby Witt Jr., which is not something that we really saw.
Still brought the glove.
Yes, we can talk about the glove, but which is more valuable, 2 hits or 1 out save?
I mean, it depends.
It does.
That double play was pretty big.
It was. So
a lot of other shortstops don't even get to that ball. Suddenly, Giancarlo Stanton's got a hit.
All right, you got me there. So all in all, we'll see where this series goes. It's all tied up at 1-1 right now. Anything seems possible. Like you pointed out earlier on, Jeremy, now we are sitting at a best of 3 series, 2 games in Kauffman Stadium, where the Royals have been one of the better home teams this year.
The Royals have the starting pitching advantage in 2 of those games.
They do,
and not announced their game 3 starter, but it's got to be Lugo,
right?
Lugo versus Schmidt. I was just actually going to try and pull up Schmidt's numbers, and then I got distracted because I was looking to see if they'd updated the postseason odds.
Speaking of which, Andy Rogers just tweeted out about a minute ago, Game 3 starter will be right-hander Seth Lugo.
Okay. You had me freaking out for a second, man. I was like, no, it can't be Brady. All right, so Seth Lugo versus Clark Schmidt. Now, Schmidt has been pretty good at times this year, but Lugo's Lugo, baby.
Yep.
Lugo's Lugo.
That he is.
And let's see. He was on the 60-day IL for a good chunk of the year. How did he do after he came back? So he came back at the beginning of September.
Mm-hmm.
He had 5 starts and a 3.65 ERA. Not bad.
So no slouch.
Not good, but the first outing was 4 2/3 scoreless, then 2 runs in 5 2/3, then 3 runs in 5, 1 earned, 3 runs in 5 1/3, and then 4 runs in 4. He got worse and worse and worse.
Okay, that's interesting.
And that's the last one was against Pittsburgh, which, as we know, does not have much of an offense.
Right.
So the Royals have that pitching advantage. They have Walker versus Cole, which went pretty good the first time around. Bullpen blew it. Happens. And then they've got Reagans versus Rodon again, which went pretty good tonight.
They did. I am very intrigued by the fact that there are so many bullpen arms that we didn't see tonight and we haven't seen against the Yankees yet, period.
Singer and Lynch.
Yeah,
right?
Singer and Lynch are still, like, there's still arrows waiting in the quiver. And we'll see how Q deploys them.
I thought for sure we'd see Lynch tonight. I thought he would pitch the 6th and 7th against the bottom of the order.
Yeah, I thought we would see him. And, like, frankly, I was not holding out hope, but the possibility of Singer starting Game 3 seemed more and more possible, not likely, the longer they drew it out. So I am glad that Annie got us a solid answer on who's actually going to be starting Game 3.
Game 3, I would feel that I would be very concerned that Lugo must be hurt somehow.
I would as well.
That's my biggest concern, more than that Singer would start Game 3, even though I don't want that. Better to start Game 3 in Kauffman than to start against a whole bunch of lefties in Yankee Stadium.
Exactly.
But I don't want him pitching many innings. Period. Honestly, he was not good down the stretch. He just wasn't. No. I wrote a tweet at one point that I was like, the Royals are going to have 4 starters with 10 wins this year. They didn't. Why? Because Brady Singer got to 9 and couldn't get another one. And it wasn't because he didn't get run support. It was because he didn't pitch good.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. That's probably a reason why we didn't see Brady Singer at all in Yankee Stadium. Is all it would take possibly is for Aaron Boone to pinch hit one lefty in there, and that could have changed the entire complexion of a game thanks to that short porch and right and Brady's proclivity to give up the long ball against left-handed hitters. Jeremy, I mean, I would ask for predictions, projections, anything like that, but you already laid it out earlier on this week, you said that if it got to this point, if they were tied after game 2, then the Royals are winning the ALDS. We sit here today, they're tied after game 2. Is there any reason why you would change that prediction?
Nope.
No?
The non-elite hitters are producing, and I have to believe Bobby's going to hit eventually. I don't think he had 3 hitless games all year. Coming home is going to be good for him. Vinny, I know, was hitless so far in this series, but he hit the ball hard both nights.
Mm-hmm.
Not every time, but a couple of times. So he's got it in him. He just is hitting it right at guys.
Right.
MJ has had 2 line-out double plays. He's hitting the ball hard again. He's moments away from a breakout of his own.
Mm-hmm.
Becoming a postseason hero. Salvi has got a hit in every game so far, including that incredibly clutch game-tying home run tonight.
Yeah, that was the spark that the lineup needed, I think.
Yeah, got him going. Though I will point out that I thought the Royals were getting some real hard hit balls in the 3rd inning. I was like, I think they're about to figure him out. When Hampson and Garcia both got singles, I said, I think they're figuring him out. And by golly, they figured him out in the next inning.
Yes,
I'm full of correct predictions right now.
Winners all around.
So listen to me when I predict for you that the Royals are going to win this thing. At this point, Jacob, I think they win it in 4. I don't think they go back to Yankee Stadium.
Win it in 4, really?
Yeah. And then you've got Reagan's ready to start the ALCS. I think that's what we're looking at.
Okay. All right. That is a hell of a prediction, Jeremy.
I know. I'm pushing myself right now. I don't like to make those kinds of predictions, Jacob. That's way ahead for me. But that's what I'm feeling right now.
So,
and I don't think I'm just high off of this win. I think it's both of these games that makes me think that.
And I think that's the interesting thing that Royals fans need to think about with their confidence after this win, because go back and look at the game 1 loss. Why did that loss happen? Frankly, there were too many external factors in that baseball game that shouldn't be in the game. Period. Number 1, we shouldn't have to worry about that. But those were several instances, I feel like, that the Royals beat themselves rather than the Yankees beating the Royals.
Correct.
Tonight, this game was much more one-sided than the score shows. I get it. It was only a 2-score deficit, but the Royals were firmly in the driver's seat for, the
whole second half of the game.
Yeah, like it was. I don't want to say it was 5 or 6 innings, but it was a good portion of the game. So that makes me feel a lot better about that game 4, them winning it in 4 games prediction. I still think some fluky stuff is going to happen, and they're going to go to 5 games. But right now, I do think the Royals win the ALDS.
I just want to say that after watching them lose the first game, became more confident they were going to win this series than I was before that game was played, based on the way it was played. So this is not just me coming out here and saying, they won a game, they'll never lose again. This is me going, I'm looking at these past 2 games, which is a small sample, but that's the postseason, baby. It's small sample sizes, and I think it's going to happen.
So let's before we get on out of here, Jeremy, let's give everyone out there some bulletin board material, because Jazz Chisholm Jr. just gave a little gift to that Royals clubhouse. Yes, he does. So post-game comment today, quote, "It still feels the same that we're going to win it. I don't feel like anybody feels any different. We're going to go out there and do our thing still. We still don't feel like any team is better than us. We had a lot of missed opportunities tonight, so they just got lucky."
See, he was good right up until that last sentence.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see if this is...
One of my mottos this year has been, I'd rather be lucky than good.
Fair. Hey, right now, luck can drive a lot of things, but if you have to be pretty good to go into another team's stadium and beat them decisively. And Jeremy, I'm sorry, this is an overall season thing that I know that we've talked a lot about, but I got to get it out of my head.
Sure.
This is just games like today show the value of the pitching investment so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many there are a handful of games from 2023 that I can think of that the lineup had a similar performance like they did tonight. A ton of hits, not a ton of runs, enough, right? Enough to win a game, but the pitching was so poor, you just got erased. You forgot about it, and you didn't care because the Royals lost. Right now, it's not like the offense was lights out. It's not like they were putting up a football number there in the runs column, but they did enough to get the win, and the pitching was elite across the entire board.
This game reminded me of the May Royals, where the first time through the order, you're like, well, are they ever going to hit again? And then they get to the second time through the order, and they beat the living tar out of the starting pitcher. The biggest difference is that the starting pitcher got pulled very quickly because it's the playoffs.
Yep.
In a regular season game, Carlos Rodon stays out there. The Royals maybe score some more runs. Michael Garcia also had a little bit of a toot plan on his RBI single, so that kind of maybe put a damper on things. But yeah, so and then the pitching did everything that they needed to do. Now, in May, it would be the starting pitching going 7, and the relievers only having to pick up a couple of innings, and the lead would have been bigger. But this is more than any win I think we've seen from the Royals in September or October. This reminded me of those early season Royals that just felt like they were unbeatable for a while.
Absolutely. So that is why every Royals fan out there listening should be very, very confident about what this team can do and will do when the Yankees come to Kauffman Stadium. If you're as confident as us, make sure you share the podcast with a friend. Make sure you rate and subscribe to the podcast so that we stay in your feed and we appear in more fans' feeds out there. This is, I know our energy and our tone are a little low. That is because it is midnight here on the East Coast and we are
to wake up my family.
Yeah, that as well. So we are, Jeremy, unless there's something else that I miss, I think we should go ahead and get on out of here.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's call it a night, buddy.
Yep. Sounds like a plan. So if you don't already know and understand, we're going to keep on doing these recaps until the Royals win the ALDS, which hopefully we're having that full episode on Thursday evening. All right, that is going to do it for us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. You can follow along with us on social media. Our links are down in the podcast description below. But of course, go check out the great work that goes on over at royalsreview.com. I am Jacob Milham. He is Jeremy Greco. Thanks for being here. And until next time, go Royals.